He's candidate for mayor of the great city of Danbury. He's been chief of staff for Danbury Mayor Joe Cavo, and prior to that, chief of staff for Mark Boughton. We're joined by Dean Esposito. Hey, Dean.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning.
How are you, man?
I'm doing pretty good. We're out here campaigning early this morning, so things are going good.
What, are you waking people up?
What are you, knocking on doors at 6:30?
No, actually, we're on the side of the entrance to the highway and waving to people with our signs. It's old school politics campaign, so I feel really good. A lot of beeping. I didn't get any gestures, so I'm feeling pretty good.
What are you wearing?
I wear my campaign shirt and some khaki pants.
Cool. You know what we got to bring back, Ethan? We used to do this the day of elections. Is I would go to the exit 2 commuter lot and stand on the corner as people were driving by.
I remember that.
It was called the exit poll.
Yeah.
We would have a sign that said honk once for Republicans, honk twice for Democrats, to get an idea of who people voted for or were going to that day. So we'll do that again this year. All right, Dean, enough about us.
I'm at exit 2 right now, actually.
That's the best. It's the most high volume spot. That's where you got to go. So we got to get this out of the way because I'm never going to get to it, and I keep saying we're going to talk about it. The bus driver Oh, wait. First, I want to say this. You guys get asked a lot of questions that, frankly, have nothing to do with you, but that's what residents do. They look to their mayor for leadership and guidance and to ask questions, right? So
yes.
While I understand some of these topics they're not for you to make all the decisions on, we're going to ask anyway. The bus driver shortage is really affecting families here in Danbury, and people are really mad about having substitute drivers and Danbury considering changing the time that school starts. Tell us what you will do about this if you're mayor.
Well, I think that changing the school times is pretty drastic. Unfortunately, we have to make some changes to accommodate what's happening with the shortage of drivers. But I got to tell you, Lou, I've been thinking about it because I know you mentioned it a few weeks back. For me personally, I think a simple solution is to get smaller buses. I mean, if you ever notice these 40-foot buses, they're driving around the town up in the small streets, up in the backside, up where I live, up by the lake, you can just about fit one car. And I think that would promote more people to actually become drivers, because I think it may be a little bit intimidating to drive a big 40-foot bus around town.
That's a good point.
I think that might be an easier solution. I know Ethan was a driver in the past, and I don't know, he could probably attest to how hard it is.
Yeah, I love driving those. I love driving those big
buses. But not
buses.
everybody's like you.
I know.
That's a good point.
I'm not saying they are.
I would drive a bus, but I don't want to drive a big one. I want to drive a little one.
I want to drive a big one.
I mean, there you go, Lou. I think a lot of people think the same way. If there was an opportunity and the pay scale was adequate, a smaller bus, and maybe they might have to put a little bit more on the line. But I got to tell you, I've never really seen a full bus of kids before. You know, maybe at a sporting event, and they're hurting too, as you know, that to get to these sporting events, our kids have to take the bus. They can't drive themselves to participate in school sports.
Why is, I'm trying to figure this. Why is there a shortage? Is it the pay?
It may be the pay, and I contributed to, hey, I wouldn't want to drive that thing around town. And then there's the responsibility. You got, 50 kids. I don't know how many they hold, but it's a huge responsibility for the driver, not just driving the bus, but maintaining the safety of the kids. It's a lot of
plus the fact
pressure.
Plus the fact that these middle school kids are just a blast to drive around.
All right.
How many times did you get hit in the head with a spitball?
Unbelievable.
There? Enough about the buses, right? Let's get into the meat and potatoes here. The other night, in fact, I broke the news. I don't know if you know this, about a gun incident on Ives Street outside of Zona Azul. There's a surveillance video in my article that was captured by a camera from Hat City Ale House, and in it there are guys in a confrontation. It looks like they may fight, and at one point a guy pulls a gun from his waist area and shoots what we can only call warning shots into the air. What do you know about this? What do you want to say about it?
Well, Lou, I did review that video that you put out there, and it was very informative. I mean, it's very discouraging to see that somebody would shoot a gun off from downtown Danbury. It's upsetting to me. But, I mean, reviewing the video, back in the day, if you were going to fight, you started fighting. It seems there was a lot of dancing around, and then the camera followed the gentleman with the gun. So, I don't know. I know that there's been talk about a staged situation, but even so, just the fact that somebody would discharge a gun in downtown Danbury is very upsetting. You know, that moves to the fact that we need more police. We need more coverage. We need more support from the police department as far as giving them the training they need and funding them. You know, we have to continue to fund the police. You know, my opponent calls for defunding the police. He's taken a position to defund the police by accepting his nomination from the Working Family Party. So I hate to get into it politically, but that's the reality. He's looking to defund police when we need to fund them even more and give them more support so we can have more police on the street and try to prevent something like this.
I'm now going to talk as a concerned resident, not as a radio host. This is my feeling.
I know you live nearby there, Lou. I know that you were passionate about it yesterday, and I appreciate your passion.
Yeah, I'm pissed off about this because, you know, I got little kids. I live 2 football fields. That's how I keep referring to it. But that's pretty much the distance from where this occurred. And I've noticed, you know, when I say I walk the streets of Danbury, that's not an exaggeration. I walk every day. It's like anybody who would take a walk in their neighborhood. I walk around, and what I've observed is that there is a young man, tough guy culture that's cropping up in the city that it can only head to a bad place. These young guys are getting brazen, and there are varying degrees of criminal activities taking place. So I'm not saying someone who fired a gun is the same as somebody who is illegally riding an ATV. But it's an attitude that I've noticed that's cropping up in the city of people who are in the middle of the day brazenly committing crimes and acting as if it doesn't matter and they're not going to get caught and nothing's going to happen to them. What do you say about that?
I think you're right, Lou. And, you know, there's new bills out there. They're giving these the youth of our community more opportunity to get involved in crime because there's no real penalty for them. We have to step up and enforce the law and give the police officers and the court the ability to penalize these younger people that are doing these crimes. And unfortunately, they get caught up with older people taking them in and saying, look, you go do the crime. If you get caught, you're not going to get in trouble. They'll just slap you on the wrist, and I'll give you some money. So unfortunately, I think that's what's happening mostly right now because of these new laws that the Democrats have come up with.
Dean Esposito, we thank you for your time. Before we let you go, I want to say this because I was struggling to find a threat to launch at these guys, and I found it. I'm out there all the time. If I see you doing something illegal, I'm going to get it on video.
You talking to the candidates?
I'm talking. No. If I see you doing something illegal, I'm not going to report it to the police. I mean, I might do that in conjunction with it, but I'm going to get you on camera, and I'm going to publish it in an article for everyone to see your face. It's happening every single time.
Lou. Just be safe out there, brother.
Yeah.
Be safe.
All right. Hey, Dean, we appreciate your time as always. Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen. I appreciate you.
Talk to you next week.
There you go.
Bye-bye.
Yep.